Welcome to Poemalogues. My name is Dasha Kelly Hamilton, and I am the Poet Laureate for the city of Milwaukee and for the state of Wisconsin. Poemalogues are an opportunity to bring voices to the public. Since we're not able to gather in public, we still want to have a chance to gather virtually, and that counts too. And Poemalogues is an opportunity to bring folks together and bring folks into conversation in ways that are authentic, unexpected, and that's what a real conversation and a dialogue can do. And poems are just our way to get there. So what Poemalogues is not, it's not an academic literary conversation about a literary merit of a particular poem. It's an invitation to new friends and some old familiar colleagues to follow in the conversation just for a little bit. So we have a couple of different topics that we're going into this season for Poemalogues, and they are joy, legacy, justice, and wonder. And our guests are invited to let me know what's the first thing they think of at one of those topics. And that entry point takes us into a dialogue. So today we are kicking off this season of Poemalogues talking about joy. Don't we need some joy right now? Haven't we earned an abundance of joy right now? I think so too. So I thought, what better way to kick off this conversation that way? And the first thing that came to my mind when I hear the word joy, and it's been something I've been thinking about a bit since we've all been seeing the world melting away, is what is the difference between joy and happiness? So we definitely can talk about so many instances over the last year, the last 12 months, where happy was not at the top of the list, but there still needed to be a joy that we were able to tap into. So I'll share with you the poem that I found that came a little bit close to that conversation. But instead of hearing what I had to say about joy, I want you to say hello, wave at your screen like you're seer. We're going to invite Miss Rhonda Hill to the screen and have her give us a little conversation about joy. Hello.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. So tell us a little bit about how you're doing today. What did we
Yeah.
interrupt? How are you feeling?
Yeah. I'm good because I'm with you. So my day,
Good answer.
it just shot through the roof being with Miss Dasha
Good
Kelly.
answer. Good answer.
Mm-hmm.
I will take it. I will take it.
Well,
So
I ain't gonna, my
I
son
had a
too, he
chance.
just left. So that added to he's spending the weekend with his brother. So
Thinking
I
about
know
my
the
boys,
mamas out there, they know about that
all of
joy
them.
too.
All of them. And we still love y'all, kids. For the kids who are watching,
Right.
yes, we still love you, and we're also glad when Grandma takes you someplace else. Hey, Joy, how you doing?
How you doing?
So I already love you with my whole heart. So tell the people your whole life story. Go.
Okay. I know I had a limited time. I wrote try to write something down real quick. I'm the oldest of five children. My parents are Rodney and Betty Hill. I am the mother of one, and I now recently know the pain of losing a parent, and I'm working through that. That is interesting how that tends to shape who you are. But I'm passionate, I'm creative, I'm a traveler, and I have a heart full of love for Black people and the struggle that we continue to persevere through, and the ways that we do that. That seems to continue to inspire me as given the events this week. And I listen to the people, I listen to God, I listen to my spirit, and I'm one who tries to give hope however I can, whenever I can. And I think that's me.
Oh, look
Okay.
at me. I think that does say all the things. That definitely
I
says
tried.
all the things.
I was like, okay, I got 2 minutes. I think that's what I want to say about me.
Oh goodness. And your son, how
Yeah,
old is he now?
he is 7. 7.
No.
Yeah, he's
What
7.
is what has been that? I mean, one of the things I appreciated and was also a challenge is once you get settled into knowing the routine and how to manage this human and what you need to be as a parent. Poof, they
Yeah.
evolve 3 months later and you have to rework those notes a bit. So what has been that evolution as a mama from a cute little munchkin to a 7-year-old boy?
You know, this might sound weird, but my son, even since he was the little bitty baby till now, he has a pretty similar personality. He's very independent. So he was really independent as a baby. And now, like, as a baby, he wouldn't let me hold him a lot, and that kind of thing. And even now, he's still independent. So we have sometimes those moments where he do want me to, like, kind of hug him and, do all that. But he is just, like, off. I think for me, what has been the most, the types of adjustments I have to make is routine. I'm not a routine person. um, he needs routine. He's not a routine person either. But I think that's really, like, as he's enter school age, that's the thing more and more that has been something I had to really, how do I move it? That's never been a real skill of mine, a strength set, but that routine, because that's what he needs. So that's been a real struggle for me, and something I've noticed as he, again, we got to do schoolwork and all this kind of stuff. So it's like, got to get a rhythm in place. Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that. I mean, like everything else in life, and you get to a point and know that just because you have it down pat doesn't mean that you don't have to grow or change. As
Yeah.
parents, we get into a routine and you have that power dynamic, and we're often, sometimes we're not as flexible as we need to be or as humble as we could be when it comes to building relationships and changing for the sake of our kids. So yeah, so get some of that organizing, planning, and setting aside this lady in schedule because he needs it.
Yeah. I'm like,
Don't we
you can
all?
what you can order an app for everything else. Like, where's that? That might be some app out there. Come routine and organize my life of my child, please.
There has to be, and I know I had a point where just trying to figure out how to make sense and manage all the stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't sample all of them, but I did my time in sampling all of the little apps, from Trello to Todoist and Note and Evernote, all these different apps and tools. We realize, you know what, we've got there's like you said, there's an app out there. There has to be one specifically for busy mothers with active kids and helping. There has to be. We're
Right.
putting everything on the internet right now, but
All right.
it has to be.
I have a
Tools have
very
to be there.
busy, off the chart son. He is very active. So it's like, yeah,
Mm-mm.
his
He got
energy
it from his
outlast me all day.
mama. He
Girl,
got it from his mama.
girl. My mama used to always say, "You are a real live boy, a real live boy." I'm
How did you, how did you how did you take that as a real live girl?
right. Well, I just was like, I just thought it was funny, and honestly, what that phrase made me think of is Pinocchio. Like,
Oh wow.
you
Oh
know,
wow.
this is Pinocchio always wanted to be a real boy or whatever. So I'd be like, okay,
You're like, all right, I'm gonna look into that, mama. Too much.
all
Well, tell me,
right.
how did you enter this conversation about joy?
Well, joy really for the last, I would say, um, I could almost say year, with everything that's been happening in our world, joy has really been something that I've been clinging to. And so, as you spoke earlier about the difference between joy and happiness, and put in some thought, me personally put in some thought to that for myself, and how I try to describe that to other people, and just really thinking about, well, what is joy? How do we find joy? How do we keep joy? Um, it's a book that I listened to from the Dalai Lama and Bishop Tutu. And it's a book about joy. So I've really been on this journey with the joy, and I love listening to those two. Of course, wise sage men of different religious perspectives both tackle this topic of joy, and a lot of other things in life. And for me as a Christian, um, person, the joy really meant something deeper to me. We used to have that song in church, "This joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, and the world can't take it away." And so for me, joy is that it's that grounding thing. It's that place that no matter what's happening in life, it's something you pull from. It's not something that is fleeting. You can't allow it to be fleeting. I think happiness is fleeting, but joy is like it's a deeper reservoir. It's like that tree planted by the water. kind of thing. It's just this, it's there. It's spiritual. It's a spiritual thing. So
Tree planted by the water. Say more about that. My imagination is trying to grasp onto that.
well, that too is another song we used to sing at church. I cannot. And I used, you hear that in spiritual too. I shall not be moved. Just like a tree planted by the water, I shall not be moved. Uh, so it's for me, it's that's what joy is. It's this same thing. It's just like this tree, this thing that's there. It's stable. Come hell or high water, so many different things. It's there. You just have to allow yourself to get into that, I feel, spiritual space to access it.
Access it. So that gives a mindset that it's always there and available. Different from you have to go find it and make it happen.
Right.
So that definitely.
That's how I feel about happiness. Yeah, I feel like I try, you try to create those, when you try to let me create the perfect party or the whatever, these moments, you want to create these moments of happiness. Or like the other day I took a nice hot bath, hiding. That was a moment of happiness.
And water drained and it's over. Because you make a good point that happiness is fleeting. Like I wonder, the trick then for all of us is figuring out how not to confuse one for the other. So, but you're saying how it's something that you have access to. It's not we can chase happy. Like you said, you plan a thing and you want to make happy happen, but joy just is. And so is it a choice, do you think, to tap into it, or is it a tool or an app? So how do you make
Man, we make that joy happiness start really working, we might become billionaires. I don't know.
I bet that I hope that's the key.
Right. Yeah, I think it's a tool. I think it's a choice. I think it's all those things. It become a tool once you have an idea that is there, something that you can summons, if you will. Yeah. I think though and also then it's a discipline, right? It's something that
is a discipline.
Yeah. I think it then becomes something like that.
Take that, Pilates and yoga.
And then, speaking of Pilates, yoga, I need a little bit of that in my life. They both hard, super hard, right, to do. But once people start working that thing out, you see it doing all those fun poses, just doing beautiful things with their bodies. You work yourself into that. I guess that's kind of what we figure out. I'm not.
I guess we share October birthdays, so I go out and I test something every year. So I share Dasha Fest with my other Libra Scorpio family friends. But I did yoga one of the years. In fact, I did yoga twice, and I wanted to experience this tool, movement, mindset that has changed so many lives. And I'm like, I'm really cool on this whole yoga business, and I wasn't told that I just had the wrong instructor, and that maybe or I chose the wrong style, and it could be me, and maybe I went in expecting too much to happen in the, but so I appreciate that.
I like yoga. I don't do it all the time, but before going to bed, it's so it's YouTube. It's so many different people at your fingertips. So yeah, you find the right person.
Stretching.
Well, no, he was doing some weird stuff, movement stuff with the breathing.
That was yoga. It was yoga.
No, it was. And I have a couple wonderful girlfriends. One, Angela Smith, and my other friend Emily. Both take their time. It's not meant to be. It is because yoga is spiritual. It really is spiritual. It's not just about exercise. I know we Americanize it and do what we do with things, we misappropriate so many different things, but yoga really is spiritual. Now I went to Aruba with my sister a few years ago, and they had a yoga thing in the morning. So I went. That instructor kicked my butt. I said no.
It felt more like.
So you maybe had that kind of yoga. And she was like, "No, you over there. Get that leg up." I was like, lady,
You're like,
this Aruba is hot. This sun
I'm on
beaming right down
vacation.
here on me. Yes.
It's not what
she
I
called
came here for.
she called me out. And I was thinking in my head, right, this is a vacation space. It's gonna be no. She was like, no, this is real. This is what I do. No breaks.
Too much.
So yeah.
Well, let me do this. Want to ask you. Thank you for making this time out of your day just to chat with me for a bit. What is something that you are excited about, and what's one parting thing you want people to think about or know about before we get to your poem?
Yeah. I'm excited about a lot of things. 2021, of course, started off already like the chaos of our country, but we also saw on the inauguration this week. For me, you could say curse words. Okay. Well, it won't. I won't be vulgar, but I really just first thought just like beautiful, badass black women. Um.
It's never a curse word.
Right.
Put in that combination ever.
Right. Okay. So just with Michelle Obama in that plum beautiful outfit, just reminding us. I love that poem you put on your page, but just like just slayage all day, like this is I was just born to be here. Kamala Harris making history as VP, and then Amanda Gorman. Um, I loved her crochet braids, red headband, and yellow jacket, and then these profound words coming out her 22-year-old mouth. It was just, so yes, that just cemented for me. This is the year of the black woman. Not to forget about Stacey Abrams, and the way she's been dripping off so many people's lips. So I just been declaring 2021 the year of the black woman. I'm excited about that. I do facilitate conversations about racism through my work of race and faith. And while that work in itself does not bring me joy that we have to do that, the space that I get to occupy and that so many people would trust my voice and to try to lead them and to guide them into being a less racist, and really figure out how to be anti-racist. We had an event last weekend called Something to Say. I've really been into having generational conversations about racism. And that project just kicked off so well. We worked with over 100 families, really getting them to talk and have concrete conversations and answering the question, what did you learn about racism growing up? And that just sparks a whole thing from mom to dad, from grandparent to grandchild, from niece to auntie. I really feel like we have to cross these generational lines and have these deeper conversations, because racism tends to travel with us from generation to generation. So
That language is perfect.
yeah,
So
I'm
yes,
just
it
thinking like,
travels with
let's
us.
talk.
It travels with us from generation to generation. That's one. It gives a poetic visual, and it's also a matter of fact. So often, so many of us find ourselves in these discussions, and we don't even know, or don't even have a root beginning for these thoughts and impulses and opinions that we have, until you spend time like this with folk like you to go, oh, I did hear my dad say this over and
Right,
over again. Or I
right,
did have this incident with, or I'd never considered dot, 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 dot. So even
right.
though
And
it's
so,
hard work and not joyous in the thick of it, I know that it gives you great it has to give you
yeah,
satisfaction on the other side, which is
last week
joyful, right?
it was just having all these families engage and ask questions, and seeing a 13-year-old talking to her mom, or hearing a mom say, I'm learning so much from my 13-year-old, because of the ways that 13-year-old is already exploring the conversation. And then talking with older white people, older black people, like 75 plus, and having them share their experience. So yeah, that was like seeing what I feel to be true come to life. That did bring me joy. And then also I love tea. I'm a tea drinker. Here's my little cute little collecting. I said I wasn't gonna show my ratchet nails. Oh well, too late for that. Um, and so with my tea club, I wrote a meditation deck, what I'm calling meditation. Ha ha ha. Over 2 years ago, when speaking of joy, when I got let go from my job, and I just wrote these cards up in one night. Um, that has been a good journey for me. I'm working with a phenomenal artist, and we're finally bringing all of that stuff to life. And so, yeah, those are the things that I'm excited about. I mean, with this being the year of the Black woman,
I mean,
it got a pop.
and we're only what 22 days in. Psh,
I know,
so much we're going to get going on.
right?
Oh my goodness. Well, do this. Can you? How did you find your poem, and then would you share it with us?
Well, I followed your instruction, and I put in joy and poem. And speaking of, you started off saying that we don't have to. This is not about doing like a true literary exercise and really going some academic. And I gotta act look like an academic poet type, literary type person. So I was like, oh, but this really, this really did speak to me in the part of being a mom, and also feeling like we're in a trying times, but possibly new times that can birth, I think, something really radically good if we allow it, you know? And so this poem is called Infant Joy. Shall I read it now?
Yes, please.
It's called Infant Joy, and it's by William Blake. It says, I have no name. I am but 2 days old. What shall I call thee? I happy am. Joy is my name. Sweet joy before thee. Pretty joy. Sweet joy, but 2 days old. Sweet joy, I call thee. Thou dost smile. I sing the while. Sweet joy before thee.
And parent or not, we all have the beauty mama face because it is joy. It is joy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it has been wonderful to sit and have some time with you, Miss Lady.
Thank
Wish you all the
you.
best in all of your things, and please let us know how we can be supportive of your work. And I'll have the notes and links to your events in the
Okay.
show notes. And let's just go ahead and celebrate this year of the Black woman. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Thank you,
Yes.
thank you, thank you. So we were talking about joy today as the beginning of our second season of Poemalogues. And as you see, it's a chance to just find a way to have a human conversation with another human being. I'm a huge fan of that. So at the start, I was explaining that the first thing that came to my mind with the word joy was this distinction between joy and happiness. And I feel joy is this warmth that's inside your chest. So I put in warmth in your chest in poem to see what poem I would land on. And I ended up with a poem by Forrest Fenn. And loosely, it's a story. Forrest Fenn was I believe, a rich man. I'm going to really get into his story a little bit more because I was fascinated. And he made a treasure hunt. And the clues for this treasure that he supposedly people can find millions of dollars upon his passing was embedded in a poem. So the idea of pursuing joy and that I landed on this poem, I feel that it works. And here's the good news about poems. They just work because we say so. So I love this. So this is called Treasure by Forrest Fenn. As I have gone alone in there and with my treasures bold, I can keep my secret where a hint of riches new and old. Begin it where warm waters halt and take it to the canyon down. Not too far, but not too far to walk, put in below the home of Brown. From there, it's no place for the meek. The end is ever drawing nigh. There'll be no paddle up your creek, just heavy loads and water high. If you've been wise and found the blaze, look quickly down your quest to cease. But tarry scant with marvel gaze, just take a chest and go in peace. So why is it that I must go and leave my trove for all to seek? I've done it, tired, and now I'm weak. So hear me all and listen good. Your effort will be worth the cold. If you are brave and in the wood, I give to you title to the gold. Thank you for being here for Poemalogues. There's a poem in every heartbeat, and we will see you next week.